The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has faulted the federal government for lifting the ban on the importation of 43 items into the country. The Central Bank of Nigeria had lifted the foreign exchange restrictions it placed on importers of 43 items 8 years ago. The items include rice, cement, margarine, palm kernel, palm oil products, vegetable oils, toothpicks, meat and processed meat products, vegetables and processed vegetable products, including poultry and processed poultry products, among others. Okwara Udensi, MAN Chairman, Edo Delta Branch, while faulting the decision at the 37th Annual General Meeting in Asaba, the Delta State capital, said companies are now closing down because of the bad policies of the government. And to further discuss this, I'm being joined on the news by Dr. Femi Egbesola, who is the President, Association of Small Business Owners. Dr. Egbesola, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, how has this particular lift of the ban on the importation of 43 items impacted manufacturers in Nigeria?
Well, I must tell you that the impact has been very negative. Extremely negative, and it has been harsh. Negative in the sense that the new policy, that is the removal of the ban, means that there will be a lot of import surge. More products will begin to come in, and it is already coming in, to compete with the locally made products. And this competition is very steep. And you know that our people here have a very strong taste for imported products. So many consumers now prefer to buy the imported ones as against the locally manufactured ones. And another thing is that the prices of some of these imported products are even cheaper than the locally made ones. And this is because the cost of production here is very, very high. You can imagine the price of diesel now and the infrastructural decay we have in the system, which makes some of our products more expensive than imported ones. And when there is inflation, it is natural that the consumers will prefer, which most of the time is the imported ones. And the effect of this is that it discourages local production. Companies are beginning to downsize because their sales are beginning to drop. Some are already closing shops. Some are already relocating to other countries.
Well, Doctor, it's quite interesting that you say that a lot of Nigerians have a high taste for imported products. But at this time, one would have thought that Nigerian products would be able to favorably compete with these foreign products. What is the problem with the standard and the quality of products being churned out by Nigerian manufacturers?
Standardization is a marathon, it's a long journey. We have started it since the ban was effected about 8 years ago. A lot of backward integration has been done by a lot of manufacturers to improve their quality, to improve productivity, and to even improve their packaging, to improve their brand. And this has been a continuous process. But then most times, we have not been able to match up with the standard of some of these imported products, particularly products coming from micro, small, and medium businesses. Yes, larger businesses in Nigeria are able to meet up with international standards, but the micro, small, and medium businesses are still trying to keep up with speed to meet up with that standard. It's not as if the standard is falling or it's not fine for Nigerians, but because we prefer superior quality, which most of the times comes from imported foreign countries, and because it is for imported country, does not mean that the quality of the product itself is very high, but the packaging and the branding is somehow better and looks more quality than ours. That's the challenge. But we were of the opinion before that if the ban had been left the way it was, we would have been able to come up and meet up with these international standards. This time, quite a number of Nigerian companies also are already engaging in exportation of their products. And this has given us a lot of learnings on how to begin to compete internationally. But it is not right for us now to go back and begin to have these products at our shelves for sales. It is ridiculous to begin to think that Nigerians will now have to contend by buying imported toothpicks, imported tomatoes, imported furnitures, imported textiles. It's not true, and it is actually impacting negatively on the businesses in Nigeria.
Let's now look at the Apex Bank. Now, in what ways has the Central Bank of Nigeria's foreign exchange restrictions affected the operations and sustainability of manufacturing companies over the past 8 years?
Well, with the ban that we had this past 8 years, it has helped us to begin to look at how we can now look for alternative source of raw materials for our production. So raw material, production inputs are now most times than not locally raw material inputs. And before we can do this, it means that a lot of research will have gone into what kind of raw materials you can use. It also means that we will have gone to invest a lot in bringing down machineries and technology that you can use for this backward integration into the country. And that's exactly what many manufacturing companies have done. But that has been brought to nothing with this new CBN policy of the removal of the 43 list for forex, because it means that all the effort that many companies have done, many manufacturers have done over these 8 years is not going to yield its intended purpose, because some of these investments will take another 5 to 10 years before the manufacturers can recoup back their money and begin to make profit. So we are of the opinion that if there's going to be this kind of policy, we will have expected it to be such that it will be gradual. Some of the items on the list may be lifted out of ban, but the critical ones that we are already getting used to, we have already adopted technology, we are already producing them en masse, shouldn't have been lifted from the ban list.
So for these manufacturing industries, I'd like to find out, looking at the different sectors anyway, are there any specific sectors within the manufacturing industry that are more severely affected by the foreign exchange crisis and the lifting of the importation ban? Because you have talked about those who have integrated technology into their operations, but there are some that are still grappling with that. There are some that are directly affected by poor electricity supply. So there are some that are directly also affected by policies of government. So I'd like to find out which sectors within the make of the manufacturing industry are directly affected and what can be done to bring them up to speed or help them optimize the operations.
To start with, I must tell you for free that all manufacturing sectors are negatively impacted this time, because the infrastructure is not there for all of us. We do not have electricity. We rely on diesel, which is very, very costly now. But going deep and being specific, those that are more worse hit are those that depend more on foreign inputs for their production. For example, we have those who are into tiling and ceramics. Virtually almost all what they need is imported. And by the time the forest is being liberalized and people can now bring in tiles, it begins to compete with the local ones, and it makes it very, very difficult for the local ones to be able to sell. We also have a product like furnitures. Those who are into furniture making, the door is now open for anybody to bring in furnitures. And that's also very, very negatively impactful on those that are into for the furniture business, manufacturing furnitures of different shapes and sizes. We also have those that are into agriculture, to agri-investment or agro-allied products. They are also technically impacted. Now you can bring in maize into the country. Before now, a lot of investments have been done in the production, planting, and value addition to maize to be able to serve as input to a lot of manufacturing processes. Okay. But that's not okay.
Well, Dr. Femi Egbesola, it was nice to have had this discussion with you. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you very much for having me once again. It's my pleasure.